But there's just something when you come out from the presence of God, like when you see God in that presence, that you come out with this kind of fire, this kind of confidence that I cannot explain.
Do it afraid, do it scared, do it worried, do it not knowing what the results will be. But I promise you, if you're working with God, you would never regret your actions.
Hey Tribe!
How are you guys doing?
I missed you guys.
It's been a minute.
Minutes inside the minutes. Right?
Honestly, how are you guys doing?
Before we start, how are you thriving today? How are you doing?
What is the reality that you're not telling people, but only you know?
What's going on in the inside of the
inside? Because everyone is going through something. The truth is that in most cases, the next person doesn't even know what you're going through.
Yeah.
Until you open your mouth and talk, and the person so you've been going through all these things like this, and you're
seriously, there are some people like I follow on social media. I see. And then you meet up at various events and everything. You have conversations with them and they tell you what is going through their life, and you're like, what? Because what you see on social media is not reflecting anything happening. You're like, are you serious? Then you start to look at yourself okay, I'm actually having it good or easy. Sometimes you need to go out there, have conversations with people, reach out to people, see what people are going through, and then you would be grateful for your own life, right? The thing that you thought was a big mountain is actually just a small molehill, and all that. But me, thriving.
How are you doing, Sophie?
I'm doing good, I would say, in quotes, but I'm a bit stressed. I was saying it today, when I came in here, I was like, I think I need an assistant. I need somebody that comes to my house, resumes every day, helps me out with everything I need to do with work and everything, drop the kids off, so I can focus, because sometimes it's just stressful. You have a lot, but one thing I believe that if God, gives you something to do or gives you a direction and you obey, He would send people around you to sort of help you on that journey, right? To actually accomplish or bring that thing to reality. So I'm waiting. I know they are coming, but I'm waiting. But
very soon.
I've been scaling my company. And I know I've said it here before, I'm scaling to EdTech, to start teaching all of the things I do. And I finally launched.
That has after so many. I have to cast Sophie. Sophie was on this project for too long. And me, I'm like, what's going on? Why are we not seeing it? Finally.
Oh my God. I had to finish the website. I was working with God. I wasn't doing it myself. Because people say you can as well just go use something, create a course and everything, make it, use AI, all of that too. But I wanted to create from the inside of me. I wanted to create from my own experiences, everything that I know, right? To give back exactly. So I'm giving back everything, all of me, right? My experiences, all of that, even helping brands. So I'll be talking more about it as time goes on. But how are you? How are you?
Honestly, this is one of those seasons in my life where I will be honest, I can't even pretend, because it's not easy. And when I say it's not easy, it's really not easy. For those of you, most people already know, because we did an introduction when we started, but I mean, maybe there could be one or two new people here who are just seeing us for the first time. Sophie is into brand and marketing, while I'm into coaching people, how to do their makeup, how to look good, how to feel confident. And sometimes it gets overwhelming when I have to combine it with my kids. I have 2 little infants.
3.
And so
well,
I've done 2 infants and one mini baby, one mini infant, because she's just 7, so very much dependent. But honestly, there are some days that I just wake up and I don't want to do anything. And as much as I always believe in taking breaks when necessary, I also believe that there's a thin line between getting too comfortable because you think you're tired or because you think you're overwhelmed, and gradually going in from there and just going to this point where you don't do anything anymore. You wake up, it's the same thing every day. So I try not to let myself get there. So no matter how hard it gets, I just still find a way to pick myself back up and just keep showing up, no matter how hard, because I know that nobody you see has it easy. All these people that we see that show up, do everything smiling, their business or their work, trust me, when people tell you what is going on behind the scene, some of those people have sick wives at home, some of them have sick mothers, some of them have sick kids, some of them are dealing with kids that need, have special needs and stuff like that. So those are the things I try to remind myself, that a lot of people have it more difficult than you. If they're still able to do it, let that be a motivation for you to just keep going. So that's just a bit of what has been going on, but we are back.
It's not easy, but we're pushing through, right? We're pushing through, and just like we know that you two, you're pushing through, and that's why we're here to be a shoulder to lean on, just like we are for each other, right? So I was having a conversation with someone earlier this week, and it was started with, I know I want to do something around business, but I don't feel like I'm there yet. I don't feel like I have what it takes. I don't feel like I'm good enough, right, to start or do that kind of thing. And I remember telling the person, this is a family member, and I remember telling the person, and it was just like 2 days ago, I was like, there's just something. The person was asking me, how do you have that confidence? How did you even have that confidence to come to a new country and decide to start a business and know that you can stand on your own, no support from anybody, you don't know anybody, just start on your own and do it? What kind of confidence? And I was like, there's an amazing thing that I cannot really explain, but there's just something when you come out from the presence of God, like when you see God in that presence, that you come out with this kind of fire, this kind of confidence that I cannot explain. It's like, give me the sword, I'm ready to cut down whatever giant is on my way, whatever tree, whatever mountain I'm racing up. Like, there's this, I was telling the family, I was like, you need to experience it. There's a level of confidence that you cannot explain. You will love yourself 100. Like, I don't know how to explain that love, but there's some times when I finish praying and I come out from God, and then I have conversations with God in that prayer. Like, I'm having conversation, like He's talking to me and I'm talking back, like He's like, do you know who you are? I'm like, who am I? You're my daughter. You know where you carry me inside of you. You, like, while having the house, I'm like, okay, I carry you. Yeah, you carry me. So anywhere you go, anything you do, anything you lay your hands, you have already been given the victory. That's how I want you to see. That's how I want you to approach life. And somehow I feel like that's what has given me that confidence. I'm like, the creator of the universe, I carry him inside of me. Right? It's just like you have a physical king, and then you have the daughter. Of course, when she's in that country, she can do anything. She can talk to anybody, go anywhere. You can't touch her. Right? I'm not saying like commit crime, do bad things and all that too, but there's a level of confidence. I was telling that family friend, I was like, I think you need to get more serious in your relationship with God, because the way you will come out seeing yourself, loving yourself, the things you accomplish and start to do, you will look back at yourself and be like, is this really me? Where did all this come from? I don't know, what do you think about that self-confidence that comes from?
It's like it's just so spot on. If I can even talk about my own self, how I got to the point where as I just got to this, I was just like, I can't even say this is a day happened, or this is like the time I know that, my confidence. But one thing I know that I would attribute, which is just similar to what you just said, is that as I advanced in my growth and my relationship with God, I started finding that the things that, like, the meaning I give certain things changed. So before now, maybe it would be a case of, maybe I'll think that I have to, dress a certain way to be able to perceived in a certain way. And, I have to have this thing to be able to be respected in that manner. But I found that the more I tried, I would just use the word try because I'm not yet there. And it's for all of us, it's still a work in progress. But the gradual steps to wanting to know God more kind of like revealed a part of God that it's not like I didn't know, but I didn't understand. There's just that supremacy that comes with God. And whenever I read that part where it says, like in Genesis, where it says that we are made in the image of God, like if you begin to dissect it, it's just like we are like there was a place, I don't know where I heard that phrase. The first time I heard that phrase, I didn't understand it, that you are a God on your own. You understand? Like, imagine that the God made you, and God said, I have made you in my image. which means that there is nothing that is different. God did not say, I made you in something that looks like my
image and likeness.
And
likeness. So it's not even photocopy, it's like exact.
Which means that if God has made me in his image, it means that whatever power God has, I can actually exhibit similar powers. Like, it doesn't mean that I can create, but I can.
You can create
in myself. No, it doesn't mean I can create a human being.
Oh, no, not a human being. Yeah.
But God made us to also be creators, right? That is why He said, "I have given you dominion over all the things on earth."
Yeah.
So when you understand it from that perspective, you begin to see that your mind is everything that is a challenge that people have starts with the mind.
Yeah.
Because it started with my mindset. I started first of all letting go of those thoughts and those beliefs to now come to this place where I'm understanding myself through God's eyes. No longer through what people said to you when you were in high school. No longer through what people said to you in your business. No longer through the person who was maybe supposed to book a service with you and suddenly just said that they got someone better.
Yeah.
Because those
gave you a bad review.
Thank you. Those little things gradually build this thing in you that make you start to resist and think that maybe these people are saying the truth. You may not say it in like word for word, but there is that part of you that starts to believe those things that you've heard.
Then you start to act like
it. Over time, you now realize that okay, maybe because so when I was younger, let me give you an example. This is a very different example, but it would explain what I'm saying. People would always tell me that Grita, your voice is like a cockroach voice. Like it would always come as a joke, and I would laugh about it, and I believed it. I'm telling you that maybe because singing is not something I'm even interested in, but I'm telling you till today, before you tell me, I'll tell you I don't know how to sing. It may be true that in the real sense of it, maybe I don't have the best voice, but the point is that I had believed all of those things from when I was a young girl to this point where now it became almost like my identity. So the gradual thing that happens from when someone tells you, or maybe like people who have experienced a lot of rejection from maybe single ladies, from men, you find out that somebody left you and had to cheat on you with someone else, and you look at the person that you were cheated on with, you look at them, they look a certain way, it begins to make you to feel like
I need to act like that and be like that.
Maybe there is something in me that made me not to be good enough
for him.
And if you're not careful, those little things starts to be a way or build something in you that makes you not understand that it's not about you. What those people said to you has nothing to do with you. You are still like, the fact that somebody treated you bad, the fact that somebody said something bad about you does not erase or change the fact that God has called you his own. It does not erase the fact that you are made in the image and likeness of God, which means that whatever anybody has said, and remember, a lot of time people say things to you not because it's true. A lot of time people project their own insecurities onto you. Unknowing to you, you would think that they are saying it because they mean it. Sometimes someone does not believe that they can do something, and the way they will talk about that thing and discourage you and talk about the negative aspects of it is more than enough reason for you to believe what they are saying, as opposed to really what God has said you are able to do. So that is one thing I know, that the moment or the time where my life started transitioning to wanting to know more about God, wanting to find out what about God is in me, what are the things God has said about me. I don't want to know me based on how my friends said I am. I don't want to know me based on what my mom or my dad has said about me. I want to know me based on the person who created me, what has he said about me. And I found that gradually I started letting go of all the negativities. Before, I'm sure if this was 3 years ago, I would not be a co-host to a podcast. Because I didn't believe I was good enough to even be in front of the camera. But over time, as you journey with God, as you grow with God, as you do all those, gentle reading one chapter a day, I don't know how it works. I don't know how the Holy Spirit just does it, but you just start to become a transformed person. Your mind starts to change, and also
it all starts from the mind.
It starts from the mind. So because if you're not there yet where you're ready to really change the thoughts that you absorb, change the people that you listen to, change the places you go, change the people you hang out with. It's not about, sometimes people are too scared of what people will say. If that is you, then you're not ready. Up until the point where you're ready to really transform your mind transforming your mind sometimes too. A lot of people who are used to you being in a certain way cannot relate, and a lot of people might fall off along the way as you progress. But those are the things that it takes to get to that place where you are this person that is like unstoppable.
I remember some of the things I remember from growing up are mostly the negative things that people said. Like if they said 99 good things and just one negative thing, it's only that one negative thing that I can remember, right? So we as people need to be careful on what we say and project onto other people, because we might not mean it might not mean any harm. It might just be a joke, a prank, but would stick with that person till they get old. So that's why even now I try to mind the words that I speak to my kids. I have 3 little kids. And when my husband says something, like I catch him immediately. If he says, or maybe like a report card comes and every other thing is good, it's just one, okay, maybe in math, something. Why are you not good in math? So you don't know. I'm like, she's good in math. She's good in math. She didn't do well in this particular section, but she's good in it. She's good. Like I try to catch, back those things so that it doesn't stick. I remember one thing my uncle said to me a long time ago. I think I was like 14 or 15, and I was supposed to remind him of something that I forgot. And then he just came and he was screaming and he was like, "You're so nonchalant. I see you have a nonchalant behavior. Everything you do it nonchalantly, like da 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 da. You don't take things serious, nonchalant." And I know growing up, I've always been a free spirit, right? I've always been that kind of person that. And it has helped me now, even in my adulthood. I don't hold on to things too tightly. Like, I feel like they're too flimsy and then, like, flimsy. And that's one of the things that God has given me, is like, even material things, right? It has helped me, because I noticed that so many things people hold on to that sort of affects our self-esteem, the way we talk, the way we walk, the things we feel we deserve. Is people feel like you have to have more money, right? If I don't have this X amount of money, this other person standing in front of me is a billionaire. I have to bow my head in front of that person. I can't look at the person eyeball to eyeball. I feel less than, because this person has $1 million house, or this person drives a car. This person is famous. This person. So I don't think I'm up to. No, you are. You are up to. The person is a human being like you. 2 hands, two legs. The person goes to toilet, poops, pees. The same way God created you equal. Yes, the person has value because they are using their gift, their talent, like they're doing things. It doesn't make you less than. So some of the things that we hold on to money, we hold on to titles, we hold on to riches, we hold on to those things. And so many people in society feel like if I don't have those things, I'm not up to. I don't have the confidence to come into that room and speak up. I cannot come into that room the way I'm dressed, because they would, of course, you dress the way you want to be addressed, we know, but sometimes some people are in situations where they don't even have that money to dress and look good. But you have something that God has placed inside of you that is valuable enough to put you in front of anybody, to create a table for you, right? Even if you don't get accepted to the table, you create your own table, right? So I remember he said that nonchalancy and everything, and that was the first time I heard that word. So I went to check. I took my dictionary. Then I was about to go into college. I was like, what is nonchalance? And I read it. They're like on seriousness, blah blah blah, play. Just like on serious. Basically, everything you do is on serious. Like you can never be serious. And I realized that I overlooked it because I was like, oh, I'm always a free spirit, everything. But I noticed that when I was in school, it kept popping up in my head. Like the first time, like my first year, I got everything. I passed, good grades, everything. But my second year, I failed a course that I had to rewrite. It came to my head. I was like, this particular, there was computer science or something. Hey, I failed computer science, but now I'm in tech. See? What's up? So I had to rewrite that computer science. And when I was basically the only one in that class. Like my mates, some of my mates passed it. So I was in that place, feeling bad. I went back to my hostel and everything. And I was like, you're nonchalant. Like I started talking to myself, you're actually nonchalant. You didn't take this class serious. You are not really attending lectures. You're nonchalant. Like I started projecting it on myself and saying, you're not. That's how you do things. Not even minding that I passed 10 other courses and just failed this one. I was like hard on myself. You're nonchalant. That was the first time like I went hard on myself. I didn't even want on any of my friends to see me. I was like, you're nonchalant. You failed every time. You don't take things seriously. You act nonchalant. You did. That was the first time.
My goodness.
I wrote that thing. I graduated. Something else happened in my life even after I got married, and it came back to me again. And that was when I woke up. I was like, how can this one thing that someone said about, like he has said 100 good things about me, 1 million, just this one thing, and I'm holding on to it like is the truth and the life and the word of God? No, it's not. I had to wake up and be like, no, you're not. You're not nonchalant. You know what your priorities are. If you're nonchalant, you won't have built this business. If you're nonchalant, you won't have raised your kids this way. If you're nonchalant, you won't build this fund. If you're not, do you understand? I was like, I had to I counter that statement ever. I don't want it to ever come back into my space, my mind. I am not. Right? I don't hold on to flimsy things, materialistic things. You know, I hold on to the word of God. I hold on to my purpose, my value, the impact, the things I want to do, help people around me. I don't hold on to things that won't take me to heaven or things that won't fulfill me. But I'm not nonchalant, so I had to counter it. So this thing you're saying about words,
it has a big role. Another thing I feel that is a reason why majority of people or most people find themselves in that place where they gradually get into this place where their self-confidence is almost non-existent is because we are constantly looking for public or people's validation. Because if you really believe in who you are, it's almost like if you know already, you know those days where you dress up and you go to the mirror and you look at yourself and you're like, babe, I'm fine. I'm fine.
And it's so good.
It looks like some days I dress up, I'm like, girl, you fine, oh, you're still hot though, and it just tells you that even if someone else tells you you're beautiful or that you look good, you already know. Like you may say, oh, thank you, but in your head you know. As opposed to when you were not sure, maybe the days you're not sure if these colors that you're combining is giving or if it's not giving. If somebody validates it, there's just that upliftment. Or when you're not sure about, oh, this picture, should I post this picture or this picture? And somebody, maybe the one you were not very sure, someone has said, this one is the like, see the way you were standing, your outfit was on point, your hair, everything. It validates that particular picture.
Immediately.
That is the thing. You have to be careful because in the whole life that we live, we always indirectly, like just like you said about the report card, you want your teacher has to be the one to validate that you did well, which is an inevitable part of living, right? In your home, sometimes you feel overwhelmed and you just want someone to validate your efforts as a mother, or you're like, and you have friends and you're putting in effort to making sure that everybody's on point, everybody's doing well, and sometimes you just expect that, you can't, like, once in a while someone should just drop you a text to say, I value our friendship. So indirectly in all of these little things where we are looking for human validation here and there, it's easy to get to this point where you don't now realize that you now get to that point where you are almost dependent on it. You now find that it's almost like if someone doesn't say something good about what you're doing, it feels like it's not good enough. If someone doesn't like come and tell you that, oh babe, like lately, even after you gave birth, you're still on point, it feels like you're not doing it. That is one of the things that people have to learn. Even me, one time, like one of my students asked me, she said that her own challenge was, because we always have this entrepreneur breakout room where the people who are like business related or have businesses will come together. We just talk about all of these social media things. And then she asked me, she said, how do you cope with like that? Her biggest challenge is, or why she doesn't want to be on social media showing her face. She has a business, but she would rather just show the product. I was now telling her about how you have to like build trust with people by let them see who owns this business and how it's being run. So she was now like that her biggest challenge is how people could leave negative comments and all of that. And what I asked her is, most of the time you would get, maybe for example you could get 10 good comments and maybe one bad one. Why do we leave the 9 going after the
leave the 99? Always funny one.
For that
I really don't know.
That one is the one that we are looking for. You would see, and it's not just her. it reminded me one time I made a post. I was just talking about how that time back when I used to take clients, I was talking about how what was that post? I was talking about how one particular client had been very disrespectful to me and everything, and then in the future she reached out to me and was like that she wanted to book a session, and then I was now saying about how I can't have her in my space, her energy is not right for me and everything. A lot of people in the comment section could relate. They were talking about their own experience. A lot of people were like, nah. So I asked the question, I said, if you were you, would you bring her back and render her the service, or would you just tell her please go to someone else? A lot of people were saying no. They were like more than if at least this has been more than a year plus, but there were more than 200 and something comments. The only one
you left the 99 to go for the one.
The only one my eye held on to was one girl. It was so bad that I went to go even check her profile. What was she? Who are you? She said, I will never forget her words. She said, you are so, let me just phrase it the way I can remember, something like in the lines of that I'm so full of myself, that I'm so rude for me to talk about a client like that. I didn't mention any name. I didn't say anything. The way you can talk about an experience.
Client, are you the one?
Oh my God, she was just that. Oh, that is a very mean thing to say that because someone did something so bad to you. I understood where she was coming from, but you can tell that there was a lot of envy or rudeness or hate in the comments. It wasn't like a case of trying to correct me. It was a case of, oh, who do you think you are? Like she now said that, oh, maybe the person has changed, which was a lot of people's point of view too. But they said it in a better way,
right? Constructive.
That one, I read it. I went for her profile. She wasn't even following me. We don't follow each other. So you can just tell that this person, But my point is saying that is, you find that because as at that time my mind was conditioned to positive reviews, positive feedback, positive messages from people. So that one that was not in line threw me off. And do you know that for a while,
plus, so 199
was almost invalid just because of that. Do you know that for a while I didn't want to, because those were the kind of content that helped me to relate with my followers. But for a while,
and you can post that.
I didn't want to do it again. I said no, but over time, that's like as I journeyed with Christ and everything, as I mingled, I keep saying I unfollowed a lot of people. I got to a point where I don't care what you have to say. If me and you, it doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean you self unfollow me if you get to the point where I can't relate, or you can't relate to the kind of content I do, because the energy you let in. I started following people who would every day talk about how they don't care, talk about how what's their own, you don't feed them, you don't pay their bills, why would they sit down and be thinking about your comment? The more I listened to those kind of people, the more my mindset started to change. The more I prayed, the more I journeyed with the Holy Spirit. Like it was like a journey. Gradually, I started finding myself. Now, if you want, let the 100 comments be negative. I will post the next one the next morning, so that those that want to go and hit their head on the wall. But it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah,
you understand? It didn't happen. Now I don't care. This clothes, maybe I want to do post or before. I will say, they've seen this clothes, so let me go and look for new clothes. Now, if you people may even sit again in the next episode, you'll be alright. Just like, I don't need anybody to tell me, oh, you look good, or you don't look good. Once in a while I could joke about it and just tell my husband, baby, do you notice I'm looking for it? Not because I'm looking for him to validate the way I look. But if you are in that place where you are still starting, to build your confidence, I will tell you that one, it starts with your mindset. Your mindset has to change. What are those things that people have told you? That, hey, look at your big pimples on your face. Look at how big your mouth is. Look at how fat you are. Look at how how do you think you want to
your leg? I remember when I was small, they used to tell me I have K-leg. Now I can't even see the K-leg again.
This thing,
I can't see the K-leg again. They find the K-leg don't disappear.
Exactly.
Another thing that my aunts used to tell me, if they watch this, they will remember. They used to tell me that I used to stand like Cinderella's messenger. Who remembers that Cinderella cartoon? That messenger, the way the messenger stands, the legs like you. For a while growing up, I kept, and that thing made me consciously stand well.
Yes.
So it was a funny thing, but I was thinking about it. But when I was thinking about it, I was not thinking about it in a bad way. I was just thinking about, sometimes I'll be standing unconscious, I'll be like Cinderella's messenger, my leg will straight in.
The kind of things we were told growing up. And you will not understand that a lot of people are stuck in those
things, with those words.
Stuck with them.
Yeah.
And it's sad that a lot of mothers or a lot of people, even as grown people now, indirectly start projecting that fear on their kids. That negativity. See, it has to end with you. It cannot pass on. It cannot pass on. Like, if there's anything that I'm also learning, I when I was growing up, I didn't really have a lot of people who modeled the life I live now, in terms of like being in front of the camera, just being bold. I had a lot of like people who believed in themselves in their own way. But because my path is different from most of the people that I grew up with, I find that I had to model it for myself. I had to learn a lot of things on the job.
You had to be the blueprint.
I had to be the person who had to figure it out. That's why you see me. I am like invested in. I joined some masterminds that I can afford. I find myself, going, because I may not be the one to model, because the truth is that there are not a lot of people who may be like you in terms of where you want to go. That is why what you said, I caught it, where you said, if you don't have that stage, or maybe you have not been given the opportunity to be in that space or that stage that you want, create it for yourself. Create it for yourself, because I feel like a lot of people too, in the process of waiting for people to give you an opportunity, you become this person who shrinks so much, because each time you wait for something, let me give you an example. Each time that, let me say you want to be featured on a podcast, and which happens to be my case. When I was back in Nigeria, one of the things I always wanted was to be invited to, just attend events. Maybe not as an influencer, but I always wanted to just be, I just wanted to be at this place. I just wanted to just come and share this thing that God has put in me. At that time, I didn't even know about podcasts and all that. Now, fast forward to 2024, this year, we are starting our own podcast. I don't know if God has programmed that I'm ever going to be invited to a stage.
You will.
But even if that's not the will of God, because even if maybe God's plan for me may not necessarily be that I will be in front of people.
Yeah.
But we have created that stage. We created it from nobody.
Ourselves. But our mics, our cameras, set it, everything, right? Filming on YouTube, like creating that table and letting your voice speak for you. If they've never called you to share your voice, but you know that God has given you a voice and a purpose. You see people that are on stage. I was watching a video recently of Obama, and somebody was interviewing him on a podcast, and he said, do you know that all the top leaders, all the people ruling countries are some of the dumbest people? Like, that was, he put it in that. I'm not saying word for word, but that was what he was saying. Some of the dumbest people, but they are ruling countries. And some of the smartest people that have been given the gift to rule, the gift to speak and everything, are hidden in the corner. Why? Because they don't have the confidence. They're still doubting their ability and the gifts. They need somebody to push and propel them. They're not taking that step. Sometimes it's just one step. Call that person. Send that message, one step. And that's why the country is lopsided. Because the people that shouldn't be speaking are the ones speaking. The people that should be speaking are the ones not speaking, because they don't believe in their gift. If only they can see themselves through God's eyes. Through God's eye. Like, factor in through God's eye. There are two ways, because you see people that are so callous, that are so wicked, the things they say are so evil, the things they do, but they have confidence. They have mics, they're speaking, they have platforms, they are, influencing crowds to hate one side against another side. Right? And you wonder, how do these people have this million views? How do these people have these people that are signing up to them, listening to them, following them, commenting? They're sort of building a cult following. How do they have that much power? because you are not speaking. Because you, the other side, are supposed to speak out and build that following and propel somebody else. You are doubting yourself. You haven't built the confidence. You haven't grown inside of God to discover who you were made to be. In whose image and likeness, the authority and the power that you carry inside of you. You know, they always say that, know that there are two powers that work in the world. There's good and there's evil. There's no way about it. There's God's side and there's the devil's side. I don't care like the debate anybody wants to have. When you see people at the top rising, there are two forces behind them. Is it that God or is it that evil? So once you see evil and you see somebody rising in that, just know the power behind that person propelling that. That's why the good too has to shine and propel, because only when light comes can darkness be shut. You know, so sometimes I know, and I know we say it most of the time, like what we're doing here, even with my Pink Brand School, teaching people and impacting people, showing people to build businesses God's way, you know, with the power they have to create, and you teaching people the confident makeup, you know, all of that. And we, with the podcast, we are not doing it for ourselves. The main goal is we're doing it for the people that are tied to us. The people that are tied to our destiny. Right? The people's destiny that are tied to what we say. Who would hear or listen to this podcast and be like, that's me. That's my cue. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was praying about this, and this is the word that I needed for today to start up, to stand, to go, to take action. So how many people are less burnt out, you know, because of some invention of cars, invention of airplanes? People can go travel fast to see their loved ones, spend time with them. Christmas is almost here, you know, like, so some of these things is not just for you. We place too much on ourselves, like, oh, me, what would they say about me? No, let us change the mindset and the narrative. What would the people that you have been tied to save or to impact or to change or transform, what would they say about you not doing that thing that you were supposed to do? What would they say when they get to heaven or see you somewhere and they're like, oh, so it was you that was supposed to create that thing that would have brought me out of poverty or changed my life, and I was there for 20 years, you know? What would you say if you could see that way, you know? And they see you and be like, so because of you, I was never saved. Because of you, I never heard the word of God. Because of you, do you understand? Like, I never walked. Maybe the person that was supposed to invent the robotic arm legs that people that amputees use. So because of you, I never walked. I never experienced how to run again.
The thing is, another thing that, you know, that just came to mind as you were saying that is, if you look at it this way, what would you do if you were guaranteed that you would not fail? You know, that question was one of the questions that someone asked me before I started my academy, like this training I do now. She said, because my fear was always, oh, why would people sign up for my program if they can't just go to YouTube to watch a video? That person said, it's not a YouTube. It's not YouTube. Nobody can learn this thing the way you do it on YouTube random. And I was still doubting. Then he said, what would you do if you were 100% guaranteed that people will sign up? You're 100% guaranteed that this thing will try. If you could look back and maybe 3-4 years from now, and you look back and you see hundreds of people on your wait list, hundreds of people calling, asking when is it starting, or you went on a vacation, and people are on your email is full with question. Oh, so my friend told me that she took your program. What would you like? What would your life be like looking back from that, you know, time and being like, oh, are you going to say, I'm so glad I did it, or I wish I did it? The truth is that if you begin to think of it from that angle, you find out that the fear you have, like, it's almost going to be slashed by half, because zero. If you're guaranteed that, and that is the way you should think. And this is not to tell you that whatever you start, maybe after watching this video, you decide to start that business, or you decide to, you know, just start the YouTube page, or open that social media, or, you know, or get that job, or write that exam. We're not saying that once you do it, you're guaranteed success. No, that's not what anybody who tells you that is lying to you. There is nobody that can tell you the outcome of anything. The only person who knows the outcome of what you're going to do is God. We don't know what the outcome will be. And sometimes you're going to ask yourself, when some people make mistakes in their business, they will start saying, why did God allow me to do it?
Yeah.
I have made mistake, like a major mistake, like when I wanted to launch Beauty by Tails. I told you, the first batch of launch that we were meant to do, let's start from the scratch. And I kept on asking God, I said, why did you, this is all my savings, everything gone. You could have just given me a sign. All the time I was praying, you could have just given me a sign. And whenever I was in that quiet place with the Holy Spirit, I'll hear the Holy Spirit say, if you didn't go through that, you wouldn't have a story. You wouldn't have an example. You're going to be talking from other people's example. I want you to have your own example because of the people who are tied to you. It was painful, though. I'm not even going to lie. It was painful even knowing that that is the reason. Till today, I just finally destroyed them, like this period. I'm like, I just need to let go, because I was keeping them. I said I'll keep them. My whole laptop was filled with them in my studio. But I said that it's time to let go and just really move on and just learn from this and know that God allowed it for a reason, and this is the reason. So sometimes you're not going to be guaranteed that it would be 100% a success. It could be, we don't know. But what matters is that each time, I'm telling you that after that thing happened, the way I had a comeback with the second batch, like I knew what not to do. I knew the mistake I made with the first. I knew what would be the selling point. I knew everything. So you come back better each time. You come back more equipped. And I'm telling you that whatever you lose in the process of building yourself, when you trust God,
you get it 100 times.
Oh my,
100 folds.
You will get it. When I tell you that you, like we serve a God that is like 100% faithful. He sees everything. He knows what you put. He would always like fix everything you think you lost. Maybe not immediately, maybe not when you're expecting it, but he will. He will. So if you decide that you're going to do it because God has called you to it. Do it because there are people, hundreds of people tied to you. Do it because if you don't do it, God is going to take that gift away. It's not going to go, like, it's not going to go.
It's going to find somebody else
who will be faithful.
Yeah.
The talent has been given to you. You gotta read the parable in the Bible. It has been given to you. If you don't use it, you decide that you're too afraid of what your neighbor will say. Which is the reason why you are watching this video, which is because there's something in you that knows that you struggle with believing in yourself, that knows that you struggle with, your confidence, and you struggle with just, showing up the way God has asked you to show up. That just, there's always that voice that makes you think or doubt that you're good enough. But you need to understand that if you're not able to use that talent, not because you couldn't, but because of these negativities that you are allowed to build up in your mind, God is going to take that gift from you and give it to someone else. That is the reason why some people, you meet them, they'll say, oh, there was a time I used to love to write. I don't know what happened. It's not going to waste. Even I myself, there was a time that, like back in secondary school, everything you tell me, I want to write it down. I had a book, I had a journal, I write. All of a sudden, I didn't use that gift for anything.
You lost
and
that.
Right now, I do. Right now, I'm not even kidding. To write a sentence, to be like you're giving me a punishment, it's not there anymore. But the thing is, it cannot remain with me if I'm not going to use it for God's glory. That is just it. Like every single thing that is in you, every single thought, every single idea that God has put inside of you is because it's meant to change lives. It's not just for you. You may think, oh yeah, that business you're starting is going to be for you. Like before I started my class, with all the doubts and everything, I knew that there was something inside of me that was always telling me, that was always pushing me that this thing is going to be something that will change lives. But I didn't, there was always the doubt. I would always think about it. Yes. I would always think about the other side, the negative side, the things that maybe could go wrong.
Yeah.
But now, when I get some feedbacks and then some people say things like, oh, you don't even know how this class has changed my life. The truth is that I still can't relate. But it's becoming clear that the reason that God put it inside of me is not because of me, but it's because of these people whose lives are being transformed now, just because I said yes to a call, And then I would also leave you with something. There's a very popular sentence that Neil Davis always says. He says that when he is like in the part of Neil talking about business and all of that. So he always says that when you are broke, when you are mingling with 4 broke people, you're the 5th person. So which means that when you're mingling with 4 broke people, like let's say when you mingle with 4 people that these are the closest people to you, and they struggle with self-confidence, they don't believe in themselves, they always talk down on themselves, best believe you're the 5th person. But when you surround yourself with people who every day they're showing up, they're pushing, no matter the struggles, no matter what is happening, they still find a way to just show up, to just keep going. There is just that thing that rubs off on you.
Yeah.
You can't help it. You can't help but, all you will do is just to look back and you realize that your life is suddenly changing for the better.
Yeah.
But if you constantly are in the midst, or you're surrounded by people who constantly are struggling, that they don't make any effort, all they do is just basically to just tell themselves that they're like, if people talk about things about how other people are better in one way or the other, you would never come out of that shell. But when you surround yourself with people who believe in themselves, who are pushing, even if they're not yet there, their energy will also rub off on you positively.
So that is like 100%. I would say the number one way to deal with like low self-esteem or lack of self-confidence, or lacking that motivation to be more, to become more, to do. People always say that not everybody is supposed to be a business owner. Not everybody is supposed to be an entrepreneur. No, not everybody is supposed to invent something. I agree, right? But I would say, and you can quote me anywhere, is that everybody was made to impact and do something, right? For God, not just live 9 to 5 round the clock. Everybody was made to do something. It says it, if you go to the Bible in the beginning, in Genesis chapter 1, when it talks about our creation. After saying we were made in God's image and likeness, God made man, woman, and then he went on. Why do you think God was always specific? I was reading Genesis, and even in Deuteronomy, God was always specific. He would say, dominate, have dominion, multiply, replenish the earth. And I was reading in Deuteronomy, I noticed that every time he was telling Moses, tell the people of Israel to do this, do that, at the end of every instruction, he will always say, and if you do that, you shall be blessed. Your store shall be increased. Your barn shall be increased. There shall be increase on your sheep. There shall be. Why was every rule, or every law that he was giving Moses to give, why does he always follow a blessing?
Right.
I was wondering, at the end, there must be a blessing. Your store will be increased. Your this. If you choose life, there was a part in, I think it was Deuteronomy 26, or I'm still on chapter, I think 27 or so. So it was the chapter before that one, and he was like, I give you this life, this day to choose, right? There is good, there's evil, there is life, there's death. But I tell you this day to choose life, to choose good. And if you decide to choose, this is what will follow. This same blessing follow, right? So you cannot do it on your own, right? You might feel like, it's too late. Age is just a number. One thing I know is that when God places a purpose on your life and something that you're supposed to do, sometimes you might think it's late, but when you find yourself back again in God's presence, it will be activated, right? God loves us so much that he sent his only son to die for us. So he loves you so much that he can wait 10 years for you. He can wait 40 years for you, and he knows that one day you will be listening to this, or one day you will meet someone that would waken that thing up in you and say, no, I need to take this chance. One thing I've also done is that in this stage of my life, how you were saying, I'm not even looking for results anymore. I keep saying it, like God says, start my brand school to educate people. I'm doing it. Let's brand, let's create, let's build God's way. Know the skill and the talent you have. Awaken people to that thing inside of them to create, right? Release this digital product or whatever. Teach people how to build, digital product using their skills, their talent, right? Do it, build it like this. Show them how to do it step by step. I've created it. I released into the air. People don't buy, they buy. It's okay. I'm just doing it because I know that 2 to 3 years from now, I will look back and know the reason why God told me to take that journey. Right. And it might not be for that particular thing. It might be for what is to come in future. It might be for the track record to show how I've gotten to where I have. Like, I never know what God is doing, but I hear he says do, I obey, right? It's so hard to, you know, pick up from where, like, you've never known yourself to be bold, you've never known yourself to be outspoken. You can't do it yourself. But in the presence of God, I promise you, you will find yourself that you never believed. You will find someone that you never thought was in there, right? You find the confidence. You will love yourself. You might look somehow on the outside, but the way you love yourself, people will ask, like, who does she think she is? What does she carry inside her that she has this confidence that she can, you know, do anything, you know? So just stay strong. One way is be in the presence of God. Love God. Keep asking God what He wants you to do. Spend time in the presence of God. 2, find people, find podcasts like our podcast, you know, that talk about these things. Not just mainly fun and, you know, pop culture and everything. Yeah, there are serious things, serious conversations that need to be had. You know, 2, find community. Like you said, if you have 4 people around you that are poor or they're struggling, you definitely are the 5th person, right? Not to say discard everybody around you, no. But even if you're the one in the circle that finds a community and introduces your circle to that community, I think we need to change. I think this is what these things we've been dealing with, maybe lack of self-esteem in relationships, abusive relationships, you know, jobs. We cannot push ourselves in our career because we have doubts or fear. We need to take that step, build the community, and then also show, because the blind cannot lead the blind, right? So when your eyes is open, you show the other people and say, oh, this is what. So, yeah. So I think step by step, you would be able to build that confidence, you know.
Yeah. Another thing is, just before we go, even if you, because one thing or one of the things I've seen that a lot of people struggle with is when you're trying to carry those around you along. Maybe you're beginning to, you know, find helpful resources, and you find that you want to share with the people around you, but they're not receiving it the way you have, maybe the way you planned or the way you hoped. You need to understand that even if you still want to remain close to those people, maybe because they are good people genuinely, you also have to make room for a new circle. The new circle doesn't have to be your best friends who comes to the house or cook with you, eat with you. No, they just may be people who you connect with on that level, like where you're going.
Partners, right?
Yeah, the things that bring you people together just may be the aim of that particular thing. Maybe the business, maybe the job, maybe the, you know, that we're all growing together, the ideas and all of that. And if you still feel like, oh, these other people, they are not there, and maybe I love them so much and there's a lot they bring to my life, even if it's not this thing, you have to be able to know where to draw the line. The problem is a lot of people want to force everybody to go with them, and when those people are not coming with them, they join them to drop. Because a lot of people are not able to stand on their own in a way that even when your friends or your family are not coming with you, you're able to stand on your feet and keep going. That is where the problem comes, because if you keep allowing the people who are not coming with you to drag you back, you're going to remain on the same level. So if you're battling with self-confidence, excuse me, if you're battling with self-confidence and you find yourself in a situation where, another thing that I feel is a step to go, or the first things you have to do from here on, if you're really at that place, you know, in addition to what Sophia has already said, you just have to know that you just have to start. Starting is just good for you, depending on what your own, you know, area is. For someone, it could just be just press play. You make camera. Mistakes. Don't wait until you buy the lights. Don't wait, because if you keep waiting, it would keep coming with its own baggage. Each day that goes by would come with its own baggage, and those are the things that too will weigh you down, and also, you know, weigh on your self-confidence. Start with where you are. Start with what you have. If your own situation is that you struggle with, you know, being confident in front of the camera, start with it. If your own, just turn on that camera. If it's your phone you have, turn it on and start by saying, I don't know what to say. I don't have confidence today, but I know that this is a journey. This is only a starting point, and I know that we're going to revisit this video and we're going to laugh about it. Post it, because I know some of you watching this video, you've made 20 videos. When you watch it, you will now notice that your hair, this part is like this, your nose is squeezing, your mouth is big. Just don't even watch it. Post it. Who was that? It was Sophie's sister was telling the other day on last week's Jessica. I was telling her that we're talking about content and all of that. One of the days I went to go and watch my first YouTube video. I did not, you know what I was asking myself, who are these people that watched it? Who are you people that? But that's the thing. you will be thinking too much about the perfection, about what is not right. I looked at it the way I was talking, as if I was one scared young girl that they are forcing to make a video.
Scared,
you know, like I was looking so, cold, like as if this thing is just a burden. But they will not understand that it's fear. Everybody has their day one. Everybody you see, somebody in real talk had a day that they walked into the house, they forgot the square meter, they forgot the size of the sink, they forgot the material that the island is made of. Everybody has a day one. Everybody has, and that's why I always tell people, if you have a platform, no matter how small, once in a while share your journey. Because every day I post, that time I didn't used to have makeup chair and makeup light back in the day. A lot of people be like, wow, this is just the encouragement. And a lot of people need to see the reality, the real things that happen behind the scene. It would help the new person coming to build confidence. So you starting now, just tell yourself that this is only a starting point. This is not where you're going to remain. It's one day that you break it, and then the next time it gets easier. Now, I just turn on the camera and I film.
No, it's like it becomes second nature.
You understand, you flow. Now wherever I am, I know how to maneuver and just make something work, and I'm good. But it wasn't like that 1 year ago. So just start it. Once you start, you find out that each new time you turn on the camera, it gets better. If your own is that you're scared and you don't know how to express yourself, type a text. I always say, if you don't know how to talk to some, like maybe you don't know how to talk on phone, maybe your own confidence is that you can't express yourself to people, type it. Go with the option of emails or text or whatever option that is in chat. Yours may be that you just want to start a business, but you don't believe that you're good enough to even attract people to pay you money. Start following people who are doing it. Start following people who share the behind the scene. Literally start, go and bring what they do.
So teach you. I'm launching
bring
a
what they do.
Yeah.
Model it. Infuse your own ideas in it and make it your own. Nobody has it all figured out. You keep thinking that everybody you see has it. Everybody has something going. No. You have to make a move. This is the year is coming to an end, but I always tell people, don't wait until 2025. Start now. Let it be that after I watch that podcast, man, my life changed. Do it afraid, do it scared, do it worried, do it not knowing what the results will be. But I promise you, if you're working with God, you would never regret your actions.
Thank you guys for joining us today again. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave your comments. We're having a conversation, right? Share your own, experiences and your own advice for people that might be experiencing this. Now is the time for us to speak up, to use our voice, use our skills, our talent, to come out from the bondage and the chains that be holding people back, and the things and the negative words and ideas and thoughts. It's time for us to take our place. It's time. No more wasting time. No more doubts, no more fears, no more dilly-dallying, right?
No more.
Right?
No more.
We've heard Auntie.
No more. Alright guys, and if you haven't subscribed, please do not forget to click the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, if there was something you took out from me, please click the like button. It helps this video to go out to more people who are like you, looking for content like this. And until next time guys, we're going to see you in the next episode.
Make sure you try.
Continue thriving. Bye.